Hi there everybody, it's Martin Twycross here with another video short. Today the question I want to answer is, what is the difference between a psychic and a medium? What is the difference between a psychic and a medium? So to begin with, we've got to define what working psychically is. So when we work psychically, we're working with the energy of either a person, a sitter, or working psychically we could work with objects or even places. When we're doing mediumship, we're connecting to people within the spirit world, spirit communicators who are within the spirit world, our loved ones, those who've known us, who've passed to spirit. So the important thing to understand then is that a psychic, if you're having a psychic sitting with somebody, they're getting information from your energy, and they're also getting information, we call it, from your energy field, your aura, and they will often give guidance and direction during a psychic sitting. And basically, whatever's happening in our lives, that information is present within the aura. That information is there to be received. Whatever your thoughts are, generally that is there within the aura. If you're having a mediumistic sitting, an evidential sitting with a medium, the information will come from the spirit world primarily. A medium will get evidence of the communicators, so you know who it is who's communicating. And the mediumship should be looking for also, is there a message as well, guidance from the spirit world also. So that's the differences between the two different kinds of work, psychic work versus mediumship. So what do they have in common? Well, they both use the subconscious mind of the medium. All psychic work functions through the subconscious, all mediumship functions through the subconscious. And they both use the same faculties. They both use our intuition, our awareness, and it's what we call the psychic senses. The psychic senses of clairvoyance, where we're seeing images within our mind, clairsentience, where we're feeling things, and also clairaudience, where we may be hearing, and clairknowing, where we just have a sense of knowing. We don't really understand necessarily the mechanism through which we get it, we just know it. So both psychic work and mediumship both use those psychic senses and that intuition and awareness. You will also hear it said many times, I'm sure, by different people, that they'll often say all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. All mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. And the way I look at that is, for me, the difference is something we call the power. Power, you can view it as a fuel for mediumship. The late Gordon Higginson, he defined power as what manifests the spirit world to us. So power, it fuels mediumship, it enables mediumship to happen, it enables the spirit world to be manifested to us. So to be a medium, you have to have power. So I have an equation I will often use, which is a medium equals psychic plus power. Medium equals psychic plus power. And what that tells us as well is that if we're going to be a medium, we've got to first learn to be a psychic. So within the UK, it's very common that those in training begin in awareness circles. We begin with psychic exercises. We learn to use our psychic senses. We learn to train our intuition, our awareness, and only then do we move on to mediumship. So to be a medium, you've got to be able to work psychically. That's really important. And a lot of people want to go straight to mediumship and they skip the psychic. And guess what happens? They find mediumship incredibly hard because it needs that psychic training, it needs that psychic awareness to unfold to begin with. Otherwise, you're doing the unfolding of your psychic awareness whilst trying to do mediumship, and it will make your life a lot harder, trust me. So if you're interested in developing mediumship, you cannot overlook the psychic. That's important to recognize. So psychic work doesn't need power. Psychic work is just working with our psychic awareness, our psychic faculties, our psychic senses. Mediumship, it does need power. So to become a medium, we have to learn to develop and build power. And the most common way of doing that I teach and many others will teach is to sit with spirit, to use a practice called sitting in the power. Now, if you're not familiar with that, I do have a download of that, an audio download of that available from my website. I will put a link in the description below. But basically, there are many ways of developing power, but the best one I feel is to sit for spirit, to sit in the power. But by doing mediumship itself, it's kind of like you build a bit of stamina, you build a bit of power anyway. So doing mediumship more often will develop and further that power also. So that's important to recognize. And the other thing we need to think about as well is that both psychics and mediums can both link to spirit. It's not an either or. It's not a 1-0. At the end of the day, we've got the equation: a medium equals psychic plus power. Now, there will be times when psychics, I'm sure, can receive information from spirit. However, if they haven't developed the power, it will only be fleeting. It will come and it will go. They won't be able to hold and sustain the link. Because as mediums, we learn to build power, and then we learn to connect to spirit. We learn to focus and stay with spirit. We're focused to hold the link with spirit. That's the key. And many psychics, I find, they haven't learned to do that. So it's a lot harder to do that. Not to say that they do not receive occasional information from spirit, because most will. So with psychics, generally, it's mostly psychic work. It's mostly receiving information upon the psychic level, and it's usually a lot less mediumship. With mediums, it's usually mostly receiving information from the spirit world with a lesser degree of the psychic. Now, I have to say as well that whenever we do a sitting, or whenever we do a contact within a demonstration as mediums, there will always be a small element of the psychic as well, because we have a recipient or we have a sitter who's communicating with us. We will receive information from their energy field, especially generally when we go looking for the message. Why is spirit here for this person? And we move our focus into that person. Then generally we receive a great deal more psychic information about them. Generally, if we hold our awareness, our attention with the spirit world, say, and less psychically, if we're holding the psychic at arm's length, when we're receiving mainly information from the spirit world. But as soon as we move our awareness and attention to the sitter, why is spirit here for you? Generally, we'll get a lot more psychic information. So it's important to recognize that even a mediumship sitting is not 100% mediumship generally. You're always going to have an element of the psychic. The only way you would get pure mediumship is if the sitter wasn't present, if it was a blind reading and the sitter either wasn't responding or wasn't present in the room and the medium just worked purely with spirit. That's the only way we take the psychic component out of the equation. But the key for me is where we place our focus. As a medium, the key is where we place our focus. So if my focus is primarily with the spirit world, it will be mainly mediumship. If the focus is primarily with the sitter, it will be mainly psychic. So if you're interested in having a reading which is all about you, if you're interested in having a reading which maybe gives you some guidance and direction for the here and now, then you really want a psychic reading. If you'd like to hear from your loved ones in the spirit world, if you'd like to hear to make contact with those who belong to you from spirit, if you'd like to receive their guidance and direction, then you're looking for an evidential sitting, a mediumship sitting. That's what you'd be looking for. So I hope that has explained the difference between a psychic and a medium for you. I hope you found that beneficial. I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to our next video. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button and do subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.